Okay, let's see. I'm not so much in favor of this idea of following your passion. So Loy came down from Mumbai and he spent some time with us. If it does annoy somebody to some extent, then the song has worked. You draw on popular tropes from the world of mythology to contextualize what is happening right now. If you are a band, then you will play popular songs. Gosh.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Convo Central. And today we have an amazing musician with us. We have Jishnu from the band Swarathma. He plays bass in the band, but he's an amazing songwriter, singer, and guitarist as well, which we'll hear in some time. And here we start. So, hi, Jishnu. Thank you for agreeing to do this podcast.
My pleasure, Prakhar. Good to be here.
And thank you for managing with us because I forgot to press the record button. Okay, so we might have to cover that thing again. How did the band start and how did you join Swarathma?
So Swarathma started way back in 2002 when Vasu, the founder, along with his friends, started something together in the Chamarajendra Academy of Visual Art, which is a very famous government arts college in Mysore. And as any other college band does, they came together to just have fun, jam together, but they instantly began to make new music. It wasn't ever the covering of existing songs as perhaps many college bands do, and even I did when I was in college band. So they had a very strong sense of writing their own music, and that was the origin of the band Swarathma. Then, of course, Vasu took a break between 2003 and 5. He went to study filmmaking at National Institute of Design, Ahmedabad. And when he came back, he reformed the band with the drummer Monty. Now, Monty Manuel was a very well-loved musician in Bangalore when he was based here. Everybody knew Monty, and Monty knew everybody, And he would float through musician circles like a fragrance almost. And everybody loved to hang out with him. He was full of joy. He was an extremely talented musician himself. And he's the one because of whom I'm in the band today. And that story is that I happened to be in Bangalore a few months before I moved to Bangalore. I had visited and I was performing in a concert with my former college band. And Monty was filling in on drums. And as a result of meeting him there, I got introduced to Swarathma. Didn't think much of it at the time. But then many months later, when I moved to Bangalore and I reached out to him, it so happened that Swarathma was looking for members, specifically bass players, a bass player, a guitar player, a violin player, because those members of the band at the time were looking to move on. And that's when I ended up visiting Swarathma's jam room for the first time at Monty's request. And I was really blown away by the simplicity, the authenticity, and the beauty of the kind of music that they were making at the time. And I felt like I wanted to be a part of it. And so I did. And now here I am, all of these years later, talking to you about it. So, yeah.
So, I understand that you moved to Bangalore for a job in IT. All of us have. And a lot of us who are doing music along with their jobs in IT, right? And you decided at some point that it has to, stop. You either have to full as music or full as job. So how did you come to that decision? And what would you recommend to the people who are still dangling in between jobs and, half-hearted music?
That is a very, very difficult question to answer. Because it really depends on your own circumstance and how serious or how much of a belief do you have in what you consider your passion or craft and what you think you should be doing with your life and things like that. First of all, I'm not so much in favor of this idea of following your passion as if it is something that you can only do exclusively if you leave everything else aside and chase it single-mindedly. In my experience, my energy comes from various different kinds of things that I do. So if you are working somewhere and you are able to bring yourself to it, and at the same time remember who you are and not lose yourself and your identity in your work, that's a good life. You know, I don't think that life really has to be so much about the black and white of I am either an artist or I am a professional and I cannot be anyone in the middle. You can choose to define what that is for yourself. That would be my first thing. But my experience is slightly different. I didn't move to Bangalore for IT. I moved to Bangalore for ITC, which is a company, not an industry. So after my MBA in XLRI, I got a job with ITC. It was in marketing, and after a brief period of training, about a year in Madhya Pradesh, I moved to Bangalore. And as is my habit, I always move to a place and try to look for musicians to jam with. I have done that from engineering college days. I was in a band in engineering college. I was playing with friends in TCS Kolkata, which is where I was working for a while. Then when I was in XLRI Jamshedpur, I formed the band Bodhi Tree, which achieved some notoriety with some of our songs. And then when we moved to Bangalore, is when I started looking for people to jam with in the city. And that's when I reconnected with Monterey and happened to join the band Swarathma after that. But I worked for a full 2 years, almost 2 years. I balanced somehow the role of being a marketing manager and a musician. So if you consider yourself an artist and at the same time there is a day job or work that you're supposed to do professionally, I believe that there could be ways that one will add to the other rather than only think of, your boring job as something that takes away from your life as an artist. Because ultimately, art is a reflection of life. Art does not exist in isolation. You cannot come up with something artistic from absolute thin air. It comes from some experience, whatever that may be. Your relationship with your family, or heartbreak, or disappointment, or patriotism, whatever it may be. It comes from somewhere, and you have to live life in order to create art about it. So the way to live life is to live life. You get a job or not, or start something of your own, and find a way to be true to what you think your art is. And even if you do a little bit of it every day, that is enough.
Mm-hmm. So, when you started the band Bodhi Tree, I think that was one of the initial bands that I heard.
Uh-huh.
Because I grew up in Arunachal Pradesh, and we only had Doordarshan.
Uh-huh.
The only kind of music I had exposure to was Bollywood.
Uh-huh.
And I think luckily at that time we did have a lot of good independent music as well. Hindi music, we had Euphoria, we had Lucky Ali, Aryans, and those pop albums by Sonu Nigam. But an entity like a band, I think the first band that I ever heard was Jal. Kind of the one with the guitar and drums and that setup. Of course we had Euphoria earlier, but in Euphoria, when I listened to the music, I could only connect to the music that is going on and the music video. But a band with live drums and guitars, Jal was my first such experience, and then the next was Bodhi Tree. So my brother, he was in NIT Jamshedpur at the same point of time, and some of the music I found on his laptop. Some of them was very good. Some of them, as you mentioned, questionable ones. But it was fun,
Right?
And it was fun to share, among the friends that listen to this art. It's so good. So lovely journey. And who has influenced you as a musician? There would be some musicians, right, which you might have heard and it came to you that I have to do this, this kind of thing.
Okay. So there are several influences. There are several kinds of music that I've heard that have shaped the musician that I've become, and hopefully will keep shaping what it is that I want to become after this, right? I think it starts with the fact that I come from a musical family, in the sense that my father, while he's a scientist, was also very deeply involved in Rabindra Sangeet, I used to sing every Saturday and Sunday in the morning. He would sit with the harmonium and he would keep calling me to say, come learn this song. It's a nice song. I'll teach you the song. And I was adamant that I don't want to learn this boring stuff. You always think that the music that your parents or your elder generation is listening to is not yours.
Everybody does that. Yeah. So
What
did
is
I.
this?
It's
I'm sure.
same thing.
Of course, it's only many years later that I realized, what an opportunity that was, and I wish that I had listened at the time. But anyway, so we were surrounded by music growing up. I remember early in the morning at 7:00 on Sundays, there used to be a Doordarshan program called Rangoli.
Yeah.
They used to play a lot of old Hindi film songs, and that's where I was introduced to much of that. Around the time that I was in high school, we made an acquisition of a twin deck cassette player.
Wow.
By Philips. It was called Sound Machine. I remember those days. And I was just blown away by the possibilities of making copies of cassettes of songs that I like. I started making mixtapes of songs that were interesting to me. And I remember there used to be this time when I used to detach the two speakers, which used to come attached to the box. I used to detach it. I used to place a pillow on the bed, and I used to lie down with my face on it and put these two speakers next to me on either side of my head and blast the music. Those were headphones of some other level.
Of course.
And that's how I remember listening to the Michael Jackson album, Dangerous.
Oh, wow.
Like that. And there are songs like Jam and Black or White and things like that, which just transport you into a different world if you listen to them like that. No Sennheiser or any of these high-end headphones can come close to two, Philips speakers from a boombox blasting into your
Right
head.
next to your ears. Huh? Oh, God.
Right? Then I got introduced to A.R. Rahman, who was just about, making waves, the early waves of his Tamil career. This is before the Hindi version of Roja, the Hindi version of Bombay. All of that came in a few years after that. But he had these amazing Tamil film albums. Like there was Gentleman, there was Pudhiya Mugam, there was Tiruda Tiruda. These are all path-breaking Tamil popular music albums. And they just introduced us to a new world of the genius that he is, in those days, the kind of things that he would do. And then, of course, I went to engineering college. Engineering college, you meet seniors who have, great taste in music. And we were surrounded by people from the Northeast, like, Arunachal and other places. And the culture of music is so strong that literally everybody plays a guitar over there.
Yeah.
And so it's so good to be a part of that kind of scene. But soon after I passed out of college and I found myself in Kolkata, the real thing that I think shaped my taste in music happened to me, which was I became a music correspondent for what was at the time India's only rock music publication. So before the age of Rolling Stone and all of these other magazines that have come now from abroad, there used to be a magazine published out of Allahabad, incidentally, called Rock Street Journal, also called RSJ.
I've heard about it.
You would have asked.
Yeah.
So RSJ was founded by someone called Amit Sehgal, who is very easily should get the credit for a large part of what the music industry is today in India, the music scene of independent music and all of that. He had a vision very, very early on what it could be, and he had taken some steps and created some platforms for that to happen. And I used to write for the magazine from Kolkata, and I used to visit Delhi when there used to be big events that RSJ would conduct. And if you have to write about music, you have to know about music. And so because of that, I started listening to all different kinds of music. I remember going to cover a Grateful Dead tribute concert in Kolkata, having no idea about Grateful Dead. But Kolkata is such a place where if you are curious and you say, what is this song? They will tell you. So I noted down the names of the songs they played from people who would tell me what it is. Then I went back and I read about Jerry Garcia and read about the journey of Grateful Dead and Deadheads, and I was able to write something that made some sense. So in the same way, I mean, I ended up listening to and learning about different kinds of music as a result of being a music journalist. And it is because of this music journalism stint that I met the person who would then introduce me to Monterey and the story that I told you about.
Mm-hmm.
So in effect, it is because of those small things that happened back then that I am here today. So, so the music that I listen to as a journalist is a very big influence on what I became as a musician myself. And I think two other bands that I would like to mention. One is from India, is the band Indian Ocean.
Wow.
Specifically, the bass playing of Indian Ocean,
Rahul
Ram's style and his approach, his activism, his songwriting, his singing, all of that I think has influenced me deeply. So that's one part of things. And the second is the band U2. And again, things like how long they've lasted together, the things that they believe in, the risks that they've taken. All of these are great examples for young bands like ourselves or young musicians like me to learn from and try and see how much of that we can apply in our lives and how honest we can be with what we would like to do.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, talking about Indian Ocean, so the other day I was driving with the bassist of my band, and he had, never heard of Swarathma. He knew that there is a band Swarathma, but he had never, actually listened to the music.
Right.
So I told him, okay, there is a new song. Let me play it for you. It's by a band Swarathma. It's so good. It's this and that. They have such a good arrangement and everything. And I played it.
Which
and I played Khulja.
Oh.
And the moment Vasu started saying Khulja re, and there is that the beat ding, and instantly, I mean, Deepak, my bassist, he said, "Oh, they sound like Indian Ocean."
Great.
And I went, "No, it does not. I have set such a good context for you. They are different. Listen to me. And I'm so proud in sharing this music with you. You say they sound like Indian Ocean. Come on."
Well, I think we treat that as a compliment, so that's fine.
So now, I mean, when you say it, I instantly put a smile on my face because I recently had this discussion with my bassist. Yeah. Okay, so I'll bring you back to something that we spoke about, that when you were growing up, you had the access of albums like Michael Jackson, and you also had access to the Tamil music of A.R. Rahman. I would like to understand the setup that you grew in. You said that you mentioned that your dad is a scientist.
Yes.
Was it a very diverse community where you stayed, and that resulted in your exposure to this different kind of music?
You could say so. That is because even though I'm Bengali, we are Bengalis, my parents are, and my father was in Indian Space Research Organization, and we were in Trivandrum. Now, it made for a very interesting upbringing because I would speak Bengali at home and Malayalam outside. And now I can speak both.
Wow.
So, of course, Kerala and the Malayalam film industry is very strong in its own right. But at the time, the music that was popular was Tamil music.
Right.
I mean, of course, Malayalam music was also popular, but the ones that we would listen to would be a lot of the Tamil music that was coming out. In fact, there is an equivalent of Chitrahar in Kerala's television or Doordarshan Trivandrum, and they would have a program of Malayalam film songs. They would also have a program of Tamil film songs.
I think geographically, Tamil
Similar.
has a very good influence in Kerala.
It does.
A lot of I've seen a lot of people from Kerala, they speak Tamil. A lot of Tamil people, they speak Malayalam.
Correct.
So they have geographically a very good influence, and that's an amazing fusion. That's when you get the best out of both the cultures.
Yeah. So, and that's actually the reason why there is a innate diversity of sorts that I grew up with, and that has actually been the reason why it has been possible for me to learn Kannada. Now I've been here several years. I can get by. I can speak the language. I think part of that is because I'm genuinely curious about languages. That's another thing. But growing up in the South while being ethnically from somewhere else kind of makes you understand the best of both worlds. And that's probably the reason why.
It gets very interesting for me here because, I fall in a very similar landscape.
I see.
So my dad, he was a professor and he was a state government professor in Arunachal Pradesh.
Right.
But Arunachal had a lot of influx from Assam.
Right.
And at that point of time, I mean, from all over the country. So there were people from, all across the country. We had people from Assam, we had people from West Bengal, a lot of them. My wife is a Bengali.
Oh.
So I understand Assamese, I understand Bengali, and I understand a little Nepali as well. Then I moved to Punjab for my college, and I can speak and understand fluent Punjabi.
Wow.
And then I moved to, Bangalore. I can understand Kannada. I can speak to, people like on the pawn shops, and I don't go to the pawn shops. The pawn shops and, the auto drivers, the bus conductors. I understand the language. I understand how the grammar works. So I can make use of some English words and use the grammar and, make use of it. I think if I had moved here when I was even younger, I would be still, better in Kannada, but I think I'm doing a good job with language. I mean, I love languages and very similar to how you grew up. So
Great.
That resonates a lot. All right. So I'll come back to the music now.
Sure.
I'll start with why I, love the music. I got introduced to Swarathma pretty late. So again, I knew there is a band when I went to book my show and, look out for the events happening in the city. I could see Swarathma. I am not a person, I think very open to, listen to new music. I have a set of artists who I listen to and I go back to their music. And I have given a lot of, effort to this. Most of the times it did not turn out that good, and sometimes it did. And they came to that section of artists who I listened to. So the Local Train was one of them. And I actually got introduced to Swarathma by accident. So you opened, I think last year you opened for Lucky Ali.
Correct.
In Bharti City.
Yes.
So I went there for Lucky Ali. I've been to 18 Lucky Ali concerts.
Oh.
And since childhood, I've been, a big fan of Lucky Ali, and songs like Tere Mere Saath, such groovy ting, 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 ting. It just, gets stuck in your
Absolute
head.
Genius. Yeah.
And the first time I heard his band play live, there was Subhash Pradhan. He has always been there, and it was magical. So the first time I see
Subhash Pradhan is the
acoustic guitar.
Oh, acoustic guitar. Correct.
And at that point of time, there was only one guitar in the band. He used to play the acoustic guitar, and he was so good that, I mean, never ever I felt that maybe we need one more guitar, because when he was playing the lead, there was something covering up in the background. You don't need a rhythm. It's genius.
Correct.
So as a band, I love them so much that I started going more to their concerts and lots of concerts. So that was the 18th concert where I went to. And I knew that Swarathma is opening. I still went there, and I have a problem of slip disc.
Oh.
So I took a tent chair with me, so that I want to be in the front. And Lucky Ali is coming late. I don't want anybody else to take my spot. But it's difficult for me to stand that long. So I'll take my chair, I'll sit there. I went there, and you guys came on the stage, and it was magic. And I did not expect that. I mean, I knew that, if a band is opening for Lucky Ali, of course, they'll be good. But usually what I have seen is when there is a main event, the audience, they have come there for the main event, and at some point they start, shouting, get the main person on this stage.
Yes.
And and I have seen it many times. And this was the first time when everybody in the crowd, nobody, not a single person said, oh God, it's been so long and there is no Lucky Ali. Because people were mesmerized. They were so much involved in the music that everybody loved it. And that was my first exposure. And when Vasu started singing, God, that range, I was blown away by that. It's such a big range. And in that song, Yeshu Allah or Krishna, he keeps speaking. And that is on a very high scale. I mean, if I speak on that scale, singing is a different thing. If I speak in, that volume and scale, I won't be able to sing. And he is a genius. So that was my first introduction to Swarathma. And I came backstage. I also met you. I don't know if you remember.
No, I
Probably
don't.
don't. Of course. And it was lovely.
Thank you. Thank you.
And during that song, Vasu came, in middle of the audience, among the audience, and he took my chair and he sat on that chair.
Oh,
for some
I
time.
remember this. Yes,
So
yes. That was yours?
my chair. Yeah,
Okay.
that was fun. So that was the first time I got introduced to Swarathma, and I came back to home and I opened up. I have a premium of YouTube Music. I am one of those person who don't use Spotify. So I opened up the artist, and the first thing I did was, okay, let's listen to the songs which I just heard in the concert. I heard the live version. Let's see how it sounds on the record. And it was amazing. I could hear more sound. I could hear more details in the music. So let's talk about Topi Wale.
Okay.
How did that song come up, and that groove, that bass line? How did that happen?
So Topi Wale, the song, has its origins back when we had just released our first album. This was post 2009. And Vasu had this original reggae riff, this dub style, off time, very Bob Marley kind of a sound. Vasu and Monterey at the time, they would really groove on the reggae style of things. In fact, Yeshu Allah or Krishna is also a reggae-based song. The working title of the song was Politics Song, because we knew that the song had to be about politics and politicians,
right,
but we didn't know what it would be. So the original style of that song, and I've actually covered the creation of the song in a TEDx talk, which I'll share with you, where it just started with the groove and an original melody. Now, typical reggae follows a kick on the 3.
right.
So 1, 2, 3, 4. So it'll be like that. But here we didn't do that. We made it a little more, pop style, which is, where there's a kick on the 1 and the 3. So it sounds more accessible in that sense. And we just started jamming on it with just rough words. We didn't even have any words, forget Topi Wale or anything. So the credit of writing that phrase or writing that word goes to Imran Chaudhary, who was our lyricist at the time, and very, very wonderful soul. He had come in and he had heard this, and then he came up with the original lines of Sar pe haath dale, khali pet mare Topi Wale. And it just fit what we wanted to do, Now this brings me to, how do you talk about difficult subjects in a musical context? Or in any context, really. How do you talk about difficult subjects? Politics is a thorny subject, even now more so than ever before, right? Now, it is possible for you to stand on a platform and then give a discourse that, this is what I believe life should be all about, and this is what my point of view on politics is. And we tend to always find ways to do that. Either you do that on Twitter, X, or whatever it is, or you do it on WhatsApp groups, or there are many ways to take a stand and speak your mind. But music allows you to be the sugar coating on a bitter pill. And when you use a combination of music, humor, satire, a melody, rhythm, groove, and you do all of those things, then your message tends to go down easier.
Right.
And we can feel more at ease with ourselves because we have said what we want to, and we have said it in a way that has entertained you, but may have also made you think a little bit.
Of course.
So that's the reason why we did it. And musically, that song has all of these different movements, and then it slowly became, especially once we started playing it live, it became something that was a very powerful track to play live as well. It needed some polishing, and that polishing came in the form of 3 days we spent in this very jam room with the absolutely amazing Loy Mendonca. So
Wow.
Loy came down from Mumbai in, I think this would be 2011 sometime,
Mhm.
and he spent some time with us in polishing our songs from a songwriting perspective.
Wow.
So he would listen to the songs, the entire album. I mean, he worked with us on all of the songs, and he would just say, "Try this in this way. Try this part in this way. Give it a break. Try this a couple of more bars. Change the melody a little bit." And he would polish the songs up to a place where it remained us, but a slightly better version of us that he helped us access as a mentor producer. So that's been the journey. And then finally we of course we called it Topi Wale. The album became known as Topi Wale as well. And yeah, every time we play it, you may have seen in the show that there was a theatrical interplay between politicians before the song starts. Right?
Yeah.
Now, whenever we play that song, some new drama is happening somewhere. Right? And we have the option of commenting on what is happening at the time. And therefore, no two live versions of Topi Wale are ever the same.
Exactly. Yeah.
And that is the beauty of writing songs that are rooted in current context. And that's what excites us about being able to do it.
So I'll go back to this process once more, because you mentioned Loy. I mean, I'm sure he's not an easy person to get hold of.
Right.
So how did you manage to work with him? Because that is a question a lot of new musicians would be interested in.
Right. So the credit for that goes to our management at the time. We were managed for many years. I mean, we owe a lot of our success to Only Much Louder, OML. They're of course, more of a content driven company at this time, but at the time when we were working with them, they were probably one of the best agencies that were managing bands at the time. So we worked with them for several years, and during the process of creation of this album, it was Bobby from OML who got the idea of bringing Loy on board as a producer, and they knew each other quite well. They're both from Bombay, Bobby and Loy, and they of course share many friends and circles. They move in the same circles. And I think Bobby had reached out to Loy saying that, there is this band, and would you, it would be great if you could help them. And Loy is a delightful soul, actually, if you get to know him. And I think we just got very lucky in being able to work with a mind like his. And what we learned about Shankar Ehsaan Loy from Loy himself was that they work more or less like a band themselves. Right? Loy comes with a lot of understanding of arrangement. Loy is actually a bass player himself, along with being a keyboardist and a composer. You have the other the brilliance of Shankarji and Ehsaan, who we've all met backstage at various places. And one interesting thing is that if you observe closely, Loy Mendonca and Sanjeev Nayak on the violin kind of sort of look similar.
They do. And white beard, no hair. So
there have been many times where Sanjeev didn't have that long a beard. When his beard was still of a manageable length, people would come up to him and say, "Loy sir, sab theek hai?"
Violin bhi bajate ho aap.
And the thing with Sanjeev is that he will not take any steps to dispel your notion. He will not engage. He will just remain silent and nod. And there have been hilarious occasions of where, famous artists have come to Loy thinking it's Loy at Bombay airport. "Sir, how are you?" "All fine." And Sanjeev would be eating idli at the time. He doesn't know who that person is. We are losing our shit. "Abhi, ye to wo hai."
That's funny.
So this happened many times. Once we heard that someone went up to Loy on a flight and said, "Are you Sanjeev from Swarathma?"
Wow.
Once it happened. He was very happy. We were even more happy.
That's so good. I mean, that's a testimony in itself. I mean, what else do you need?
Nothing of that sort. It's just... so yeah.
And I think what Lloyd does was also a part of Rock On when they did. And I think in the Rock On also,
Yes.
the keyboard player, he did all the arrangement and the bass section. And I mean, Shankar and Son Lloyd, they do the music for all Farhan Akhtar movies, mostly all of them at least. So really good, really good. Interesting how you get hold of, good people at
Yes,
the right
yes.
time.
I think that's a very important thing you said. And I think we owe a lot of our, whatever we managed to achieve, to meeting the right people at the right time. And them just being, you play Kho, you have this turning point where you,
Right.
Where you swing direction
Boomerang,
and go. Yeah. So I think some people are like that. You will be moving towards some direction and they will just give you momentum and direction and guidance. And then you find yourself moving in a beautiful new direction which you wouldn't have if you hadn't had the chance to meet them. The role that Loy played in the first album, Amit Killam of Indian Ocean played in the first album.
Mm-hmm.
The role that Loy played in the second album, Amit Killam played in the first, where again it was through OML that they put us in touch with Amit and requested him to help us in the first album. And so Amit co-produced it and helped us through that process in the studio. We were, of course, struck by disbelief that, the Indian Ocean ka drummer humko help kar raha hai. It is amazing, And so then we've grown to become very good friends. They continue to remain mentors and well-wishers. And, we've always had a good time when we meet up with them. And there's so much of music that now we share together that Amit has featured on one of our songs as well, So it's...
And these collaborations, they are always something that, I mean, as an audience, at least I look up to. So collaborations make it very special for me because I know one artist, I know the second one, I know that, their own individual playing styles, but it's always a fantasy of how it will turn out together.
Right.
If I follow you and if I follow Amit, I'll probably, if I do my music, I'll have influence of both. But having the originals coming together, I mean, so we had one collaboration of Parikrama, Agni and Shilpa Rao.
Correct.
They did a song, I believe, and
Yes.
it was so good. I mean, there was Sonam Sherpa. I mean, of course, he's no more. I mean, he played amazing riffs and the vocals of, Mohan. It's amazing. So the collaborations are...
So that was on the season 1 of Durists.
Yeah, right.
We were also on that same season,
Mhm.
but our collaboration was with Shubha Mudgalji.
Okay. I have heard that song. I did not know that it's from the Orists.
It's from the same.
Okay. I followed a couple of more, sessions there. There was one where Mohit Chauhan collaborated with Indian Ocean. That song Maya. Maya, Maya, re.
Ha. Though I don't think that was Durist.
Okay.
Or maybe it was. I'm not sure. Maybe it was. Yeah.
And it had that very groovy bass line. Ting ding, ting ding, ting ding, ting ding, ting ding, ting ding. It's amazing. So Rahul Ram is an institution in himself.
True. Very true.
Okay, coming back to Topi Wale. So for me, I mean, when I heard that song for the first time, I tried to, hum it and sing it. For me, I thought that, the kick will on ha, sar pe haath dale, and it was a little offbeat, sar pe haath. It was very good. And have you sung that song in front of politicians? I've seen one video where you did it, and have there been more instances, and what kind of response did you get from them?
So there have been, instances where we have performed in front of politicians or government officials. Mostly people are chill.
Mhm.
And it is only very rarely that anything has happened that, may feel like it has touched a raw nerve or anything like that. And I feel that if it does annoy somebody to some extent, then the song has worked.
Of course.
Right? I think once we were playing in Delhi and there were people who came up and said, why do you want to, bring politics into this? It's such a beautiful occasion and things. To which my response is that it is an inescapable part of life. And, why should we sanitize everything and stay away from any kind of discussion of difficult things? Rather, why not treat this as a start of a conversation and then see how it goes? But in general, I think people tend to appreciate the art behind what you're saying. And it is not necessarily something that we have worried about so much. And I think that we should continue to sing songs like this.
Of course, I'm all in for that. It's a lovely song, lovely theme, and you have done it after that, in many songs, and it has always turned out to be good. Recently, Bus came out, and oh god, I mean, it's amazing. Of course, all this we'll talk about that. One more thing in Topi Wale is the drums. It's so good, and I think one of the things that I have observed in all of the Swarathma songs, you have an amazing lineup, two good beautiful artists who can do magic, but I never see an overuse of any instrument. I've never seen those unnecessary face melting solos, and those unnecessary 3x4 and those rolls and those things. It's very apt and in a very adequate amount of pieces. How does that come out? Is that something that happens as as a practice, general practice of the band, or is that something that you go ahead and take care of it, that okay, this is not something we have to do?
So, to answer that question, I think the analogy lies in being in a conversation with somebody. If I want to communicate with you, I need to be true to what I want to say. At the same time, I have to make sure that what I am saying gets through to you. Now, I may know a lot of words, but I must use the words that are best for the occasion. One, I may be able to speak very fast, but I must speak at a pace that you will understand.
Right.
I must speak at a pace that I will not garble up the words when I'm saying them because I'm speaking so fast. Or I will mispronounce the words that I am trying to use because I don't know them as well. I may know the meaning, but I may not know how to use it. So the context of arrangement of a song is exactly the same. Ultimately, we are trying to express an emotion or a thought. To do that, what are the musical tools available that will best serve the purpose of the song? Ultimately, we are here more to serve the song and less to serve our own desires as musicians.
Yeah.
If you remember that, you will end up having this kind of a feedback, which is that I like the extent to which you have done what you have done. Now, this is not to say that it is wrong to indulge and express, and perhaps that is what it is. That is what you want to say. Maybe my intent of communication is to see how great my vocabulary is. And so I will do whatever it takes for me to communicate that. And if that is what you like, then you will enjoy that. And there's nothing wrong with it.
Right.
But the kind of music that we want to make is one where there is an understatedness. There is in general a sense of understatedness with Swarathma overall. Like, we don't really like to be over the top in anything. And that's just what makes us comfortable.
I think that's what makes your music, gel into all, everybody's music as well. So I think everybody who listens to any kind of music can listen to your music. It doesn't have to be, I only, listen to rock music. Fine. Swarathma plays rock. I only listen to, soulful, soft music. All right. We have that. So you fit into everybody's budget. So that's a beautiful thing about the band. And do you think that Topi Wale, right? You sing it live, you sing it in front of officials, politicians. Is it going to get worse? Or do you think that we are still that, good to handle these kind of songs?
I don't really know, what the answer to that is. And to be honest, I'm not really concerned about whether it is going to get better or worse.
Mhm.
Because for me, or for us as a band, the need to communicate is the reason why we are playing a song like that or writing a song like that.
Mhm.
And what the scenario is on whether that communication will find its audience or it will not find its audience or find the wrong audience, there's no way to know.
Mhm.
This is like saying that should I take my vehicle out and travel to so and so place? There may be a lot of traffic and red lights.
Hmm.
So I will choose to not go at all. Now, if you don't choose to go at all, that means perhaps you didn't really want to go there. Now, our point of view is we really want to go. So either we will brave the red lights and go, or we'll walk, or we'll take a bus, or we'll do something. Ultimately, we want to share what we feel.
Right.
And what the scenario is outside should not drive whether we go out or not.
That's a great way to look at it. It's amazing. I get new perspectives, talking to you.
Swarathma, new perspective since 2002.
Okay, so now I want to talk about another song, Yeshu Allah or Krishna. That song brings a lot of spiritual values and probably religious values, at least unifying everything together, and with a very, funny attitude in the song. How did that happen? I mean, who thought of that song? And I also want to know, when we talk about songs, who writes these songs? I mean, the lyrics, the one line that is always stuck with me is, Kabir koi banta nahi, Kabir to hota hai bas. So good. And I think the arrangement is also such, during live, that Kabir koi banta nahi, fine, everything is, together. Are sadho, Kabir koi banta nahi, boom. Everything stops. And then Kabir to hota hai bas. So that the impact that you want to put on that line, it's always there, be it on the record or on live. So I want to know how that happened, the process, who wrote it, everything about it.
So, Yeshu Allah or Krishna actually started with Vasu coming up with the original thought. And the reason why I think he was able to come up with it is because he spent some time working at ISKCON as a filmmaker. And of course, at a place like ISKCON, you will be surrounded by bhajans and things like that. And he was also heavily influenced by Kabir and the life and the message of a saint poet who lived several hundred years ago. And yet everything that he said back then applies to whatever is happening now. So the original idea of that bhajan style introduction, Yeshu Allah or Krishna Kaun Bhagwan hai apna, is something that he had come up with, I think, way back. This would be probably 2009, 8 or 9, around the time. It was not ready enough for us to put in our first album, but then the idea was there back then. And so when he brought it to the jam room and we started working on it, he had this clear idea that there's going to be this bhajan section and there's going to be a reggae section. Now, as I was telling you, he was a big fan of reggae, and reggae tends to lend itself to saying subversive or anti-establishment or, just dissent-related things. It's just that kind of sound. But the moment of truth came when it was blended with the style of Indian folk storytelling. Now, that has different forms in different parts of the country. In Karnataka, there is the Harikatha style of storytelling.
Right.
In MP and Chhattisgarh, that belt, you have the Tijanbai's style of, oh, Sri Ramchandra ji bole, and there'll be somebody saying, kya bole? And,
Right.
it's like it's a folk theatre. It's almost it is a way for you to listen to a story in a certain context. So he was able to blend that storytelling to the fictitious scenario of Kabir coming back after 500 years and observing that nothing's really changed in all this time. So while a large part of the original, I don't know, the chorus and all of that was written by Vasu himself, I think we had collaborated with Hitesh Kevalia. He's a lyricist, and of course, I mean, he's a screenwriter and a writer based in Mumbai. And I think the two of them had collaborated on all of the spoken word parts. And the spoken word parts are also, collaborative in the sense that there is a call and answer from what is happening on stage. So, Vasu says something and then I respond to it, and then we have a little bit of a banter. And much like
exactly. It's beautiful.
So that's been the. I remember we had these two sections, and then we didn't have any way of moving the song forward musically.
Mm-hmm.
We were stuck. And then Vasu went on a little trip, and then it was, I think, Montre, Varun and I who jammed at home at my place, and then we came up with the bridge, which is like a differing part between like a divide between the two verses. That made us very happy. Okay, we have something more to take it forward, and so now there are these
very good violin as well.
Yeah,
it sounds very good.
All of that stuff. And then, there's this different part where, there is a slightly different message of Kabir Koi Banta Nahi. Before that, it is Din mein to sab hai gyani,
Raat ko chor ki nani.
Raat mein chor ki nani. So these are all, ways of folk storytelling where you take things up to a point and then you drop a punchline.
Right.
So those are all, borrowed from the world of folk style theatre. But it's used in a contemporary context. And that is what makes it sticky.
Yeah. So, I mean, that doesn't, let you, get bored of it. So there is a story going on. That is fine. It goes on for some time. But you know exactly when to stop that and then move to Din mein to sab hai gyani with everything, together. And there is one more thing which I have seen, a reflection in all of your song is everybody singing together, the chorus.
Right.
I think most of the songs have it, and it sounds beautiful. It sounds, you can relate to it. It sounds, very close to your ear that someone is telling you, sitting in front of you. So that is amazing. Same in, Yeshu Allah or Krishna.
Right.
And I think, and Yeshu Allah or Krishna was, for me, I had heard a bhajan of Anup Jalota long back. Kabira jab hum paida hue sab hase hum roye, and this was very close to that and in a very modern setup. I have a very groovy bass line in the background and Vasu singing in his range. It was amazing. Beautiful song.
Thank you.
And I think that songs which can bring, spirituality and religion together, which can spot the common fault in all the religions, that is something that we need today.
And much like Topi Wale, you always have something happening around you that is 500 saal mein kuch khas nahi badla hai. It is possible to hark back to some mythological story of what has happened. Like, when Nirbhaya happened, in concerts after that, we would say that पहले ज़माने में दुशासन द्रौपदी का वस्त्रण करते थे. आज निर्भय के ज़माने में आप देख रहे हैं क्या हो रहा है. 500 साल में कुछ खास नहीं बदला है. So you draw on popular tropes from the world of mythology to contextualize what is happening right now, and that brings us a lot of temporary peace, if you'd like to call it,
It does.
to be able to say that.
And it opens a very, big perspective for audience as well. I mean, rather than looking at as a song, as a live concert, you think, oh, kya bola yaar? You get that thing. And in 5 moments, kya bola yaar? So two different emotions it can invoke in you. And when did this song come out?
Yeshwala?
Yeah.
So Yeshwala or Krishna was incidentally a part of a British Council collaboration. That album I think came out in 2010, but then we re-released the song in 2012.
Okay, so 10 and 12, and it's 2025, so 15 hours later, and you still say, पहले चलती थी तलवार की धार, अब चल रही है गोलियों की बौछार everywhere. So it still holds true, and I think it is going to hold true in all the time to come. It'll always be there.
So will our song.
Yeah, so that's what I mean. Imagine writing songs which are relevant after 100 years. That is a big feat that you as a band, I think, have achieved. Amazing. All right. And I'll talk about another song now, Roshan.
Okay.
Oh God, it's such a lovely song. I mean, it brings a smile on my face every time. And I was in Norway last year, and I was on a work trip, and I was driving through, Norway. There are two places called Bergen and Flom, and the drive is considered very scenic. So it is said that, I mean, if you should do that drive, that road trip once in your lifetime. It's so good. So I was doing that, and in Norway there is no, population, so I could not see any car in front of me. There was nothing in the rear view mirror, and I had Roshan playing on the speakers, and at that point of time, that line came, "Manga kuch nahi milta hi," and I was like, wow, I did not ask for this. It has come to me, and it's beautiful. And every word of that song, it means a lot. And I could relate to that. And it has... And I think, the thrill of doing anything live is a sense of it can go wrong. So
And it mostly does.
it does. All the time. Yeah, so we have lost the power, but I think we'll continue. So we were talking about Roshan. How did the intro come to happen? It's such a beautiful intro. I think there is a plucking on the violin.
Yeah.
Ting, 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 ting. It's so good. How did that happen?
So the song Roshan was quite simply a gift from the universe. And it is pretty much close to what you just said about the experience of not asking for it and it coming to you. The song also came to us. I don't think we were looking for a song like that. So the roots are in, I think, the winter of 2022, when the band did a retreat. Every once in a while we get away from life distractions and just sit with ourselves, hang out. And this is something that my bandmates also like to say, and I've read this also on many occasions, that music is a byproduct of the relationships you have with the people around you. If we are able to connect with each other, then music will happen. Of course, music can happen otherwise also, but there is a certain kind of music that will happen when that connection sort of renews or forms or what have you. So we spent 2 days just with each other, with talking about difficult things, and sharing with each other what we felt about what was going on in our lives at the time. And on the morning of the third day, it just happened.
Wow.
And Vasu he just started playing that opening riff. And I had a bass line which I really loved at the time. We didn't end up using it for the song, but I was also flowing with it. And the first phrase, Roshan Hua, came on the very first day. On many occasions, the main lyric of the song comes later, but this was there right from the beginning. And we laid down the original structure and melody of the song in that retreat. And we were so taken aback by how beautiful it felt that, it's almost like some power is rewarding us for the work that we put in with each other.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's I think the origin of it. Now, but I think a lot of credit to what the song has turned out to be goes to our lyricist. There is, I think, this is the right time to talk about the person with whom we work the most. His name is Puneet Sharma. He's a lyricist. He's based in Mumbai now. He's also a screenwriter, and he writes for various different kinds of formats. But he is, at least for us, he's primarily a lyric writer. And he has the unique ability of understanding the vibe of the band and its composition, and using his command over the language and his own sensitivity, his own artistic nature to latch on to what it is that we want to say but aren't able to, and gives flight to our imagination with his own force. So he heard about what we went through, and we spoke to him in detail, and then he came up with Roshan Hua Ruha Ruha, Mehka Koi Dhua Dhua, and then of course that line. Another of my favorite lines is Ye sitar si saase tar si megh ke raag gaane lagi, and then of course the line which you said, Manga kuch nahi milta hi gaya. That is, I have been thinking a lot recently about some conversations I've been having with friends of mine that talk about what is the mindset that you need to get what you want. And we are, I think, taught from a young age that you must always work for what you want. Mehnat karo.
Right.
Nobody will give you anything on a platter. You must get out there and claw it from the unwilling arms or the clutches of the world, Zalim Zamana, who is out to, take advantage of you. And you have to fight and get what you want. And that is where life is all about. But what if it's not?
Exactly. मेरा भी यही सवाल रहता है, क्योंकि what happens that I have met people who are very, innocent, good people. But the way people talk about them, अरे भाई ये ऐसा रहेगा, इसके साथ तो कोई भी नहीं ले जाएगा. मैं नहीं ले जाता हूँ ना किसी से. I don't take, unfair advantage of anyone, and I would want to believe that nobody is going to do the same to me. I mean, you have to believe to make it happen at least.
So it's very interesting, like, it's almost exactly the words that you're saying, that, I mean, the only thing you really have to do is to just be and, have an idea of what it is that you want and do what you think takes you closer to that without really hanging on it the hooks of your expectations and load it with potential disappointment at every turn, because it's bound to happen. Maybe things don't work out immediately, and since you've attached so much of your self-worth to what you've done or who you've become, and it becomes harder and harder to deal with how it is when it doesn't work out. And so if you just let things be, you hold a palm of sand lightly, you clutch it and it'll go. But if you hold it steady, it'll remain. So you do that, and that is when the feeling of Manga kuch nahi milta hi gaya comes, that you feel like you've received so much, and you've not actively gone out to look for it, but it has found you. I think songs are also like that. If you go out actively cutting a mountain, trying to unearth a song, you will not find it. It will come to you when you least expect it, because you are not creating it, you are transmitting it.
Exactly.
And you have to you have to ready your tools for it. So your ability to sing in key or play what your inspiration is asking you to, that will come from the hard work of riyaz or practice. Right? But once your tools and your heart and soul are ready for it, it will come.
And I think when it comes to you organically, that is the best thing that can happen to you or to the song.
Yeah.
Then you will do the right justice with the song, and the song will be, yours forever.
Yeah.
I also like that line, "धाके नूर के
Yeah.
बुन के जिंदगी मुझको फिर से बनाने."
Wow. Yeah. I'm
Beautiful song.
Thank you. Yeah.
Okay, so talking about lyrics, खुल जा रे,
Oh.
छोटी सी एक खिड़की ने रोशन किया घर सारा. Such an amazing line. I mean, I can visualize it. It's so good. How dark a room can be. You just dig a hole into it and gone.
Right.
It's not dark anymore. Who wrote this song and how did this come?
So I think this song is mostly written by Vasu. In fact, that song was composed before I came. So let me quickly look it up.
Yes, please. I need to talk to Vasu.
Yeah, I need to.
He's amazing. I love his voice. Oh, God.
Yeah, so Vasu wrote this song. Actually, this was written before I joined the band. This was a song that we had quite a while back. And it was only recorded by the time the second album came around, which is, it was actually one of the songs that was heavily worked upon by Loy in order to make it what it is now. We have these two distinct parts of it. There is an acoustic part and there is an electric part.
Yes. The electric part comes in the second half of the song. Yeah.
So you're right. I think it's possibly one of the songs with the simplest lyrics, but which carries such great depth in its message. So we've really, we don't play that song live as often, but whenever we do, it's always it always feels very uplifting.
Yeah, it does. Jab koi rasta ho, the lyrics are amazing. I'm amazed by all the lyrics, of your song. When I talk about one song, it looks like probably this is the best tongue song of Swarathma. Then I move to the other song and it's okay, no, not that one. This one is the best one. So, all the songs, beautiful lyrics. So, the work that you are doing as a band, I am very happy, as a consumer of your music. I would really want it to, keep coming.
Thank you.
And talking about bus, again, lyrics, तनख्वाहों ने फिर से महंगाई से हारी है. Wow. Who writes this? How do you manage to get hold of people who write the songs this good?
Puneet wrote Bus, the most of it. And the original thought of it came, again, when we were just sitting around chatting. And it was a day of terrible news in the newspaper. Those days are now very common. You pick up a newspaper any day and it's very easy to be depressed by what you are seeing around you. And you see the extent of this absolute stream of crap that is coming at you from all sides. And you could feel often very overwhelmed. Like, what is the point of it all? What are we even doing? If the world is in such terrible shape, or the country or the state or the city or whatever it is, it's in such terrible shape, we are all like just going to be finished. What is the point of getting up every day and doing anything?
Exactly.
So during this kind of a discussion, one of us, I think, said, ठीक है यार, अपना काम है बस गाना गाने का.
And that stuck.
So, okay, yes, things are shit, things are going bad, but you do your work. That's enough. So that's where we, started with that concept of, I think the original thought actually was to say that, phool khilte hain, diye jalte hain, something happens and something else, and then it snowballs into something bad, and then, but okay, so what? Apna kaam hai bas gana gane ka. But then, Puneet had his own spin to it, and then he added these different things, which is, दुनिया में हो रहा है, लोग कहते हैं.
लोग कहते-
We are not
Exactly.
saying. So this is actually also reflective of how it has become, how artists have now become reluctant to take a stand.
Exactly. I was about to say that कि वो एक डिप्लोमेटिक और पॉलिटिकल करेक्ट रहने का जो अर्ज है ना, that stops you from expressing what you think exactly.
And there are so many artists that we've come across who say that, my art is not political. There are so many other qualified people to talk about politics. Why should I talk about politics? I will talk about what I want to talk about.
Everybody should talk about politics. I mean, you are into that, right?
It's an inescapable part of life. But, we are. But the real reason why probably people, and I can understand why artists may be saying it, is they don't want to get in trouble. They just want to
Exactly.
be. They just want to talk about what it is that they feel safe talking about. And so that is why we spoof that by saying that मोहल्ले में ये हो रहा है, और शहरों में ये हो रहा है, लोग कहते हैं. We are not saying, हम तो ऐसी बातों से ही दूर रहते हैं. So we are not saying it, though we are saying it, and that is the
It's very sarcastic. It's amazing satire, and to see that coming into into a song, into a 4-minute song, and when you listen to it's not a kind of a song that is playing in the background and you're chopping off vegetables. No, you listen to that song, you sit to listen to that song. When you're listening to that song, you are 100% focused on that, because every other line reflects on something without being very direct about it. That's a लोग कहते हैं. That's exactly true, and people don't want to. अभी लेकिन दूसरा problem है. If they don't say anything, then also everybody runs after them. इतना कुछ हुआ, उन्होंने कुछ बोला ही नहीं.
Correct. That's true.
Lovely song. Bus. There was a song by you in Family Man.
Yes.
Beta sweater. What
Correct.
was that? I mean, is that did you do that for Family Man, or?
No, that song was a pre-existing song. That also has an interesting history. It started with me coming up with the bass line, sitting where you're sitting. That's where I usually sit. There's a bass amplifier behind you. And I just came up with the bass line. I came up with that because that is my way of coming up with stuff, is through practice. So I was learning some scales, and that was at the time on a D minor scale, and I had just sort of noodled around and come up with it. And I remember the guys in the band saying, "Arey, wo sahi hai kya hai? What is that? Just keep playing it." And so then one thing led to another, and on the very first day, Vasu came up with the line "Beta sweater pehno." We had no idea what the song is going to be about. It was just a funny thing to say. Yeah. "Beta sweater pehno, nahi to lagegi sardi." Right? There is a very old ad, "Beta sweater pehno," if you remember. So that's where I think it might have come from. But we were wondering what to do with the song. Where should this go? So initially the thought was, perhaps it is the establishment telling you, "Beta sweater pehno, don't do too many of these समाज को सुधारने मत निकलो,
अपना stay safe,
do your thing." But we even wrote one version of that, and it didn't really land very well. So we kept thinking, and came up with the idea of, what if it is a song about parental pressure? So it is a song about how the aspiration of parents for the children doesn't sit well with the children.
Right.
बेटा स्वेटर पहनो, नहीं तो रहेगी कड़की, बंद हो जाएगी मुंह पे तेरे फ्यूचर की खिड़की, सड़कों पे धूल उड़ा के बस में धक्के खाएगा, हम जो बोले वो तू कर ले वरना कुछ ना हो पाएगा. This is what we've all kind of grown up with in various forms,
Right.
And the thing is, now I'm a parent myself, and I find myself going back to those same patterns, because it's so ingrained that you want the best for your children,
Right.
but we don't have the tools to communicate that effectively.
Right.
We don't know enough about the world, because when we were growing up, I was convinced that my parents have no idea about the world. I know, because I'm a young person living.
Everybody does that.
Everybody does that, and so we, it's a way of perhaps starting conversations around it. So when that song came out, it became part of a campaign by Mirinda called Release the Pressure. It was an not anti really, it was a campaign that came out around the exam season of 2017, when the campaign was about telling parents to chill. So the Release the Pressure campaign then ended up winning a Cannes, and it did quite well and all of that. It was Mirinda's way of sort of trying to find resonance with the people that it was talking to. And then I think 2 or 3 years later, when The Family Man was about to come out, then the production house reached out to us saying, we'd like this song, we'd like to use this song for our series. And of course, it was a great opportunity for us. And then we got into a licensing deal, and that's how the song has become part of the soundtrack. Yeah.
So I actually keep an ear in all these shows कि पीछे क्या चल रहा है. So I heard that, and they also have a scene of a birthday party where there is a music in the background that is not per se the background music of the series, but of the scene that it's a birthday party, so गाने बज रहे हैं करके. There they had the local train song. खुद को खुद से मिलाने चला है, वो गाना भी है उसमें.
Right.
तो I keep telling this trivia to my wife, and she's like, yeah. I mean, she hates to, drive with me क्योंकि मैं एक गाना बजाता हूँ, and then I just dissect the song and tell her about everything related to that song. God. So also the voice texture that Vasu has in this song, it's beta. It's very similar to how Amit Trivedi did in ये दिल पिघला के साथ. समझ में नहीं आता है कि those are Amit Trivedi and Abhijit Bhattacharya.
Right.
यहाँ भी if you do not know the band, you won't be able to make कि भाई वासु गा रहा है. Correct. Very different.
Correct.
And it's a good song. I mean, parental pressure, it is a thing for all of us.
Right.
जब बच्चे छोटे होते हैं तो I saw this in some stand-up comic. जब बच्चे छोटे होते हैं लगता है वाह क्या आदमी है यार, पापा को देख के. थोड़े बड़े होते हैं क्या आदमी है यार. मैं जानता हूँ सब. मेरे 10 दोस्त हैं, मुझे ज्यादा पता है दुनिया के बारे में.
True. That's the way it is. Yeah.
So you have a kid. Is that a son or a daughter?
I have 2 boys.
Okay.
They are aged 15 and 10, and I am living through Beta Sweater Pano every day.
Do they like your music?
They don't mind it.
Okay.
I think they like some parts of it, and but every once in a while, depending on whatever they are listening to, right now it is Travis Scott.
Okay.
So they come to me and say, "Can't your band make something like this?"
That is always going to happen, I'm telling you.
I tell them.
Or at least you are telling me.
Yeah.
I have a wife, and we are a cover band. So we play covers, all across Bangalore. We play songs.
Okay.
And when we used to perform, so we started off as, we thought that we are a good band, we'll play good music, artistic values, and we'll play A.R. Rahman, underrated songs which people do not listen enough. We will play for them and we'll make that change. So we used to play Luka Chupi. We used to play Zinda by Amit. Zinda ho yaar kafi, that song.
Lovely.
And, a lot of these songs. And all of our wives and girlfriends at that time, they're like, what are you playing? I mean, if you have to play for yourself, play it in a jam room. Listen to this song. This is a new song that has come out. Bachana, why don't you play this song? I mean, no. This is exactly what we do not want to play. And, but I mean, slowly we had to compromise. So we found out a way to bridge our creativity and the songs that the crowd likes. So now we play a mix and match of both and try to play more commercial songs in a way that we also enjoy playing them. So we're doing that. But yeah, I mean, if you're saying that your kids come and tell you that do something like this, oh God, that's inevitable. That's going to happen to us as well then.
Yeah. But what you said is very, you've unknowingly, I think, touched upon a very important facet of what it is like to be an original band in the scene.
Yeah, I was coming to that, but yeah, let's talk about it now. Why not?
Yeah, and it is now quite accepted or even expected that if you are a band, then you will play popular songs.
Right.
And while there is nothing wrong with it, it's great if you play good songs well. We don't want to be that. We are not the kind of band that will enjoy playing Bachna Hai Suno, for
Right.
example. Right? I mean, there are other bands who can do that much better than us. We don't want to do that. We would like to play you songs that talk about how we feel about the world. And that is a stance that we took very early on, and we are still there. And there are so many, countless opportunities which we have let go because the client says that, "Nahi, wo, people will not know your songs, so we can't have this."
हमारे साथ होता है. I mean, every other show they ask, send us the videos, and oh god, it's a difficult journey. We send them the links to Google Drive, and then no, send me the video on WhatsApp that I can play on WhatsApp. I don't want to click on a link. And we're like, all right, you are an organizer, sir, please take this. And they're like, no, we are looking for, we have a party and we are looking for this kind of a song. And like, but I mean, listen to us. And they're like, no, we would go ahead with another band, who are more into traditional 4x4, those A minor scale, A minor G, F, E, and who can sing Gulabi Aankhein in 10 different voices. So,
so that part of it is tough, to not get the opportunities because there's a very interesting part or interesting way to try to understand the mind of someone who is booking an artist. Now, the person who's booking an artist has a very different mindset than the person who's coming to enjoy the show and the artist who's coming to play, right? The person who's booking, good booking agents or good people who program. Now, booking is not the word, it's programming. I mean, what is the kind of artist that will suit this occasion is an art in itself, right? The biggest factor in their choice is risk. Right. The only thing that they are seeking to mitigate is risk. Think about it like this. If you go to a restaurant, you could order in two ways. You could go into a restaurant which you have heard of and say that, I've heard that this place is good. You choose something from the menu that you've never had before, trusting that it is most likely going to be good. This is one way of booking an artist,
right,
or programming a venue. The other way is, can I look at something that is familiar? Right. Naan butter chicken, kitna hi kharab hoga? And for the price that I'm paying, it's a safe choice. Let me cut my risk of not just what I will have to eat, the things I will have to hear from my 10 other co-diners. ये क्या है? क्या ऑर्डर किया तुमने ये? बटर चिकन है यार, खा लो, कितना ही खराब होगा.
Exactly.
So this is the equivalent of programming an artist. And if you as a programming person or an artist booking person do not have enough of an idea of music or your own personal taste or a wide enough range of understanding of genres, then you will only choose the hits because that will keep you safe. That will reduce your risk.
That is true.
So risk also comes from how much you are willing to pay for the artist. The higher that the artist is asking, it is because the artist is able to guarantee that your risk is less.
Exactly.
If you program a very famous, very well-established artist, the reason why that costs a lot of money is because you are paying for risk mitigation.
Right. I mean, you book Sonu Nigam, kitna kharab ho jayega?
Exactly.
Right.
Right. So we are in a different kind of gray zone. There is a certain value we associate with our art, but it is also not everybody who considers that risk worth taking. To listen to songs about religion and spirituality and politics and this and that, maybe not everybody's cup of tea, and that's fine. But this is what we want to do. And actually part of what we need to communicate also to the community of people who are programming or booking is that this is the way we will manage your risk.
Right.
what are the risks that you are looking at? You are looking at people may not like it, or people may not know the songs. How is that going to be overcome? Those are the things that, from a management point of view, artists like you and me need to think about.
Makes sense. Makes a lot of sense, yeah. Also, in music, at least I think I would want to get your views on it. Do you think that the channels like Instagram and YouTube Shorts, that is reducing the musical intellect of people? I mean, I remember the songs, I used to listen to those songs for their bridge pieces, their interludes. Some songs have amazing intros. The song doesn't even start for 40 seconds, 50 seconds, and you're into that song. You listen to Fade, you listen to Fade to Black. I mean, that Metallica song, it has a big intro, right? And even in Hindi songs, there are some amazing songs with good intros. That now I think people are losing the patience to go through that. They just want the hook line to be there. Even when we play the songs, it looks like people are waiting for that to happen, the hook line. Kesariya tera, that's what they're waiting for. They're not waiting for ding, 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 ding. That is a beautiful piece that is off time. I know that because I had a hard time following that, time signature and preparing. It is a beautiful off time piece, but they do not want to hear that. They are just waiting for the hook line. So do you think that the music is getting impacted because people are losing patience because of these short videos and, these platforms?
I think that the idea of putting the blame on the formats or the mediums is like saying that people are not getting nutrition because the size of the plate in the restaurants has come down.
Right.
And people are only going to restaurants where they serve in small plates. And so that is why people's appreciation for good food is going down. Maybe true. But you are the person who is creating it. You are the one who is putting that entire dish together. Maybe that dish is not for everybody. If you deliberately try to change the way you do your preparation, because now I have to fit all my creativity on that small plate, then you will suffer the fate of a chef who is frustrated because you're not able to be creative.
Right.
I think that as creators, you have to be aware that trends like this will come and go.
Mm-hmm.
What will actually remain is your authentic intention of what you felt like doing and what you did. Maybe it worked or maybe it didn't. But if you attach the weight of your expectations to the results of what you create, then that is a very difficult creative life. There is something I've read which I'm happy to share is the fact that artists need destination. Every artist, whatever kind of artist you may be a sculptor, you may be a painter, you may be an author, you may be a musician, you may be a composer, whatever it is. Every artist needs destination. For a band like Swarathma, it may be a stage. For a writer, it may be a book launch. For a painter, it may be a gallery opening, whatever it may be. When you have destination, you are working towards it. It so happens that you achieve the destination. Often that is a very big pitfall for artists, because once you've achieved the destination, now what? Suppose your goal as a filmmaker is to win an Academy Award, and now you've won an Academy Award. Now what are you going to do? You've already achieved it. Right? Where do you go from here? How do you stay motivated? Or perhaps the destination is taken away from you. COVID-19, no concerts anywhere. Destination is gone. Right? How do you remain motivated to create? So this book that I read, which is called Art and Fear, highly recommend you reading it, talks about the fact that artists need destination, and so create a small group of like-minded fellow artists with whom you share your in-progress work frequently, and treat that community as destination before you take it to the other conventional destinations. Because that will continue to nurture you as a destination. It will continue to inspire you, because being in the company of fellow artists is the best way to remain inspired, remain challenged, remain focused on things like this. In this situation, it is very clear that for a music lover like yourself and a music creator like yourself, the 15-second video format is not serving you as a destination. Even if you are creating a cover video of some kind, it's not making you feel good. Maybe there are others who are creating it and feeling good about it. Good for them, it's fine. But if it's not working for you, then you have to decide what should be the size of the plate in which I'm going to eat.
Right.
And if you can remain in that state of feeling happy with what you've created, then these things will not bother you as much, and it will not need to be asked. The answer to your question is that music as a universal language between not just humans. I mean, there's music in the bird kingdom, it's music in the animal kingdom. There are so many beautiful sounds that come together with meaning. It is infinitely more powerful than a fleeting trend of a medium of a certain number of seconds that is allowed. It is immensely more powerful than that. Music, it will just come and go as a blip.
Right.
15 second mein aaya nahi gaya. Is it affecting music? It cannot. Music is much more, and will be much more than what people lament as attention span reduction and things like that. Maybe that is true for now, but it will not be for a long time.
Forever. Yeah, of course. That is true.
The same argument has happened for the 5-minute pop song thing, 4-minute pop song. People have said that, and there are actually physical reasons why that is. The LP record could not take more than a certain number of duration. And at the time, it was the classical musicians who said, but hamare 30-minute composition ka kya hoga? It has evolved. Now, are the 30-minute compositions still there? Yes, for those who want, it's still there.
Correct.
And these things will come and go. I mean, there are now people that are saying that long format is back. What do you mean back? It never went anywhere.
It was always there. It's there for the people who want to consume it.
We don't know, and it is very exhausting to keep mapping trends and keep trying to see that, am I current, am I relevant, and all of that.
Very difficult.
Yeah, instead, stick to what you like doing and do that better and better. That is enough.
That is true. क्योंकि नहीं कर सकते. आज ये है, कल कुछ और आएगा. You as an individual, you are you. I mean, you cannot change with everything. If you are able to do that, good, but it's very exhausting. Agreed. All right. Now, I want to talk about live music. How do you see it? Because when I go on a stage to play live, it's beautiful. I love doing it. I'm 100% sure you also, love doing it. But how is it different for you than what you did on the record? Do you, want to keep the same pieces that you had in the record to maintain the originality of the song? Because people might be familiar with those parts. But at the same time, you also get the creative freedom to do 10 different versions of that song that is not on the record. So how do you manage that?
So the answer to that is that we are primarily a live band. We find our greatest joy on stage. We also record songs and release them because we'd like to, we'd like for the songs to reach a larger audience. But our main joy comes from playing live. And you're right, we do keep trying to experiment. In fact, the live version of Bus is the version that we wish we had recorded. Because after playing the song Bus now for several months, we have come to an arrangement that we feel is better than what it was then when we recorded it. So these things keep happening, and it's fine if it does, So we do try to keep the original arrangement to the extent possible, but if we get a better idea, then we don't hold back. Then we change it, and then we play a song quite frequently in a particular season. Then we kind of give it a break. Then it feels fresh when you come back to it. So yeah, I think it's good to have the problem of wanting to play many songs and not being able to because of duration constraint.
I think it's a good problem to have for a musician. I completely agree. All right. Let's talk about what you're doing now. I mean, what do we expect from you in the times to come, or, in the coming weeks or months or years?
So right now, Swarathma is in the process of finishing the writing. Light is back. Roshan Hua.
Of course.
So yeah, on that cue, I think what we are in the process of is writing the fourth album, Roshan, which is interestingly the title of the fourth album as well. And 3 songs of Roshan have already come out. Roshan, Bus, and a Tamil song called Ayanar Kudre. And now there are going to be 5 more songs that are going to be a part of the Roshan album. So we are in the process of finishing it. One thing that has ended up happening because of the culture of non-physical format releases is that nobody is going to hold you accountable to releasing a certain body of work together.
Exactly.
Right? So you're free to release as singles whenever you want. And it's difficult to get into the discipline of finishing an album in its totality. Right. So we did 3 singles, one after the other, but we would produce a single after the release of the previous single. Right. Now, what ends up happening with that is your mindset keeps changing, and it's not that all of these songs were recorded at the same time with the same mindset, which is what represents album as a body of work. So we would like for the Roshan album to at least be cohesive about this time that we are spending together in 24, 25, this period of time. So that's why, I think we are working now on this song, on the songs that we want to release as part of this album. If all goes well, it should be out later this year. So yeah, that's the main thing that we are working on. And the other thing is, hopefully we want to put out a Best of Swarathma vinyl record.
Wow. That would be a collectible.
So, yeah, I think, the format of vinyl is something that really appeals to us, the intentionality behind it. You take out a record with a clear intention that you're going to be focused on the music. It's not something you can just switch on with a mobile. You have to take it out of the case, you have to settle it on a turntable, you have to gingerly put the needle on it, and you have to make sure the amplifier is on, and then you sit, you relax, and hopefully you listen to some good music.
And I think it's very special for the audience and the fans as well, because exactly who is going to listen to that. I mean, it's not going to be everybody, but it would be the people who have enjoyed your music, who love your music, and for them also it will be very special. This is something for me. I would want to keep it with me and listen to it over a cup of coffee or a cold beer. So nice, really, really good plan. And the way you mentioned that, I mean, since we don't have the cassettes or the CDs these days, you can release singles and then call it part of one album. For me, I like it. I like listening to singles and, be updated with what is happening with the band. But I have, OCD. I would, probably wait for all the songs to be ready and listen to it as an album. Because it gets difficult for me to keep a track of, okay, that song, was that a single or has it become now part of an album? It's sometimes difficult for me. So.
Yeah, I think you are the kind of person we are releasing it for.
Do you listen to Bollywood music?
Yeah, sure.
Which do you have any artists you
Oh,
love?
like I said,
listening to?
I started with A.R. Rahman being someone I really looked up to, and Amit Trivedi, of course, he's done some really brilliant work. Um, uh, there used to be a time when it was fashionable to, talk crap about Bollywood, saying that, what do these people, formula पे music बनाते हैं, कुछ भी creativity नहीं होती है, and all of that. But that's not true.
It's not.
And the world of writing music for the screen, where the primary purpose of the song is to serve the story and all of that, is a different art form, and there traditionally it has been the primary form of music in the country. There's no getting away from that. We whatever the definition of independent music may be in the world, in India, independent music is non-film music.
Right.
But having said that, there is some brilliant music that is coming out now. I think even the audience that now listens to film music is discerning in its own way and wants to listen to new sounds
Right.
and new ideas and things, and that is what is happening, I think. So we have I think there's great music coming out, and it's just about having an open mind to listen to what you might might become now your favorite song.
So we, as a band, my band's name is Unmukt. So we are kind of an unpaid ambassadors of, promoting Amit Trivedi's music. The music which we believe, because when we started out the band, this is one of the things we clicked on. So we were talking about, and I told my bassist, we were just having a chat on to check the compatibility, if it would be the right way to go forward, to work with each other. And I told him that, I'll show you a video. There is a very good song by Amit Trivedi called Badra Bahar. And he was like, I know that song. And I was like, I've met very few people who know about that song.
Right.
And so, fine, that's good. So then you must be knowing about that song. Yeah, that song is good. And that's how we clicked. And we recently did a tribute to Amit Trivedi in Hard Rock Cafe.
Acha.
And we did our best to make sure that, we bring out those songs. We did Badra Bahar. And there is a song, Dilli, from a movie called No One Killed Jessica. It's an amazing song. Chandresh Kudwa has played guitar on that, and amazing song. So we did that song as well. So some really amazing songs. And these kind of Bollywood music is something, that we enjoy a lot, and we try to create more of it and listen to more of it. So good to know that, you like Amit Trivedi. It's so good. All right. Now it's a rapid fire round,
Right,
for
fire
the
away.
sake of all the hundreds of the podcasts out there. So I want to be in the trend. First gig ever, where was that?
First Swarathma gig ever for me was at a place called Opus. It was a club that was on Palace Road. It's gone now. It doesn't
Opus
exist
Club, I know
anymore.
about that,
Yeah. And they used to have something called it used to be called Sunday Jam or something like that, where they would just open the space for any artist to come in and jam on that day. And we played. It was a Sunday afternoon in 2007, and that's the first time that Swarathma played with. I played with Swarathma, and I remember it being a fabulous time.
You had a good reaction? Oh, that's a very, you're lucky to have it on your first show with Swarathma.
Though, to be fair, it's not to take nothing away from the rapidness of your fire. I'm just digressing. That Swarathma did not start when I joined the band. They were already a pretty tight band to begin with. I just held it down and didn't make too many mistakes on the first time. So that's the way to look at it.
Okay, and is there any artist you would want to collab with? Dream collab?
Dream collab. Oh yeah, of course. There's so many, and some are of course not possible. Freddie Mercury would be one dream collaboration. One of the greatest, I think, singers of all time, perhaps. Perhaps the Edge of U2. If we get a chance to collaborate with him, that'll be something amazing.
Mm-hmm. Nice. And your favorite Swarathma song?
My favorite Swarathma song, very, very tough question to ask, but I think it is Ayanar Kudre.
Okay.
At
The
this time.
Tamil song?
The Tamil song.
Okay.
I mean, it keeps changing. Right now, it is that.
Yeah, it's always like that. You know,
Yeah.
favorite song is never the same. It is always depending on where you are personally in your life. What are you enjoying? What you are not? It keeps on changing. And do you have any challenging live shows where you are trying hard but the audience is dead, difficult?
Yeah. That happens actually fairly often because, occasionally you get programmed for places where music is not the focus. And it's important to acknowledge that, not everywhere will you get an audience that is receptive or appreciative. To borrow a phrase from the people from Indian Ocean, you treat that as paid practice.
That's true. Yeah. I mean, for us also, when we are on stage and we are like, भाई ये तो the audience तो कुछ response ही नहीं कर रही है, क्या करें? And ना ड्रम बजाओ ना भाई, jamming है ये jamming, free jamming है, पैसे मिल रहे हैं jamming करने के, और क्या चाहिए? So,
but then, I think it is also important to find a way to engage. And that is often possible because you must always remember that an audience will always want to connect. It is up to you to accept their need to connect.
right.
They may not be able to show it because of other agendas lying in front of them, or if you are in a corporate dinner of some kind, then of course you have other things to think about. But then, for the sake of that performance, what can you do to reach out? There are ways, and that is comes with experience of playing shows.
Right. A lot of times it happens that we can see audience in front of us who is, humming the song, who want to sing, they're hesitant. So it's on us to, make it comfortable for them, create an environment where they can just unleash themselves and, sing their hearts out with you.
Yeah.
An instrument that you would like to master. You already play the guitar and the bass, of course.
Yeah, I think bass.
You're doing hundreds of shows on bass.
No, but I think there is much for me to learn on the instrument. And even though I freely dispense advice on practice, I find it very difficult to follow it myself.
Of course.
So if I can follow even 30% of the advice that I give others, I think I'll become a much better bass player. So I should.
So my wife keeps asking, what does Deepak do? Deepak is the bassist of our band. And I tried multiple times explaining, okay, he plays bass. Okay, all right. I cannot make it in the song, what he plays, his sound is. I'm like, when he stops, then you will be able to know. Like, something is missing. That's him, that's bass.
That's a good way of putting it, yes.
Amazing. Okay, so now I would like to close and would want to take your input of how people can connect more with Swarathma, how they can find you. Is it possible to reach out to you apart from concerts and music? How they can, connect closely with you? Also, if somebody wants to probably work with you, what would be the right channel to reach out?
Yeah, I think the way that I have now come to realize is the best way to connect with people that form part of our community is just regular old-fashioned email list. Sign up for an email list. We send mailers regularly about what we are doing. If you reply to it, it'll come to us directly. And of course, all the social media channels, we manage it all ourselves. And so if you send a DM like you did, it'll come to me directly and then we can connect, and we are very, very open. In fact, the people that we work with now very regularly are ones who've reached out to us over the years just like that. Puneet Sharma, the lyricist of long years now, sent a message to us on the Swarathma website guest book.
Wow. That's a long way to reach out, but it worked.
It worked. So and we are totally open. I mean, very often I get emailers or messages from young musicians or designers or other creators, and I read all of them. It may not be possible for us to collaborate with everyone, but it is important to connect with fellow artists, and we do that regularly. So I'm happy to hear from anybody who wants to work with us.
Great. I would like to thank you a lot for agreeing to do this, because I don't have a channel yet as of, now that I'm recording. I have tried to keep it very professional, with the logos and the creatives to make it very official and, formal. That is the way I would want this thing to work. But I mean, you agreeing to do it in the first place without me having a lot of reach, because I mean it's the first thing that people ask for. If I am connecting with you, what kind of reach do you have? How many people will I be able to reach with you? And you agreeing to do that regardless of it makes a lot of value to me. It's a big thing for me, and thank you so much for doing that.
My pleasure.
I hope you enjoyed this
Yes,
conversation.
absolutely.
Because
And I think, to close what you said about, how many people will I be able to reach if I do this? Of course, that is important. And hopefully, you will reach a lot of people. And then, our conversation will hopefully add value to many more lives. But the reason why I wanted to do this is because I see this as an opportunity to connect deeply with one person. And that connection with one person, me with you and you with me, will have its own ripple effects in our respective lives. I will tell people about Convo Central and the kind of conversation I've had with people. You may have the opportunity to talk about this or so many other things that we talked about with people that you will interact with in the future. And that is how good things happen.
right.
And it often happens when you are not really looking deeply for it. Effectively, manga kuch nahi, milta hi gaya.
Exactly. So I actually tried to look up for Swarathma interviews on YouTube.
Uh-huh.
And there were quite a few really small ones, 10 minutes. Probably the longest is 20 minutes. And a lot of it, I mean, I did not get what I was looking for. Not at all. I want to know this. Where is that question? Come on, someone ask them. And I did not want it to be a very formal question and answer session. I like to drift.
Yeah.
I like branch out from conversations to know where you have come from. So that's why I immediately asked about that did you live in a multicultural society, because I can connect to that and I can see that in your journey as well. So I like having conversations like this, deep diving into sounds, lyrics and everything. So I hope you had fun and enjoyed the conversation.
Thank you for having me, and all the power to you guys.
Thank you so much. Can we do a song? We have a guitar there.
Yeah, we do. Okay, let's see. काश मैंने बात अपनी सुनी होती तो जिंदगी आज कहीं और ही ले जाती. काश मैंने बात अपनी सुनी होती तो जिंदगी आज कहीं और ही ले जाती. पर बैठे हैं अभी अपनी जिद के साए में, गाते हैं यही गीत इसके बारे में. ना 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 ना. हम कहते तो हैं सबको यही कि सब ठीक है, पर अंदर कहीं चुभती हुई तकलीफ है. काश हमें मिल जाता कहीं फिर से वो लम्हा, तो कल एक नई सुबह होती. पर होता यूं नहीं, जीवन के फेरों में पीछे जो गया गुम है अंधेरे में.
हुनर कि कल की भूल को याद करके भी जी लेते, अब सीखेंगे इसे, सीखेंगे इसे अपनी ही बातों से, पूछेंगे नहीं इसे अपनी यादों से। काश।
Beautiful. Lovely song.
Thank you.